No more Mr. Nice Duck.
Drop that zero and get with the hero. Excuse me?
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, any further questions? Yeah, please. For the first one who buys one, right?
Souvenirs, novelties, party tricks.
Apparently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Rusted Junk, where we look at the 1988 film A Fish Called Wanda, starring John Cleese, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Palin and Kevin Kline.
Otto is a man of many talents.
Hey, great fish! Little squeeze of lemon, some tartar sauce.
Ken is a man of few words.
Tell him from me.
George is the man with the plan.
13 millions, my friends.
And Wanda
Do you speak Italian?
Molto pericolosa.
is the woman they love. They all set out to commit the perfect crime.
To 20 million.
To a job well done.
But it turned into something
George moved the loot?
less than perfect.
Disappointed!
So they turned to a lawyer named
Archie Leash.
Leech. George is going to tell him what the diamonds are.
with Wanda as the bait.
I want you to make love with me.
Nothing.
He's really hooked.
I thought you weren't jealous.
I'm not. I don't believe in jealousy. It's for the weak.
Come a girl as bright as you could have a brother who's so...
Don't call me stupid.
I'm really, really sorry. I apologize unreservedly.
Are you totally deranged?
Get free too, old chap.
John Cleese,
Will you leave immediately, please?
Jamie Lee Curtis,
Kiss me there.
Kevin Kline,
Put the other one up.
Michael Palin.
May I kiss you, Ken?
No, you can't!
A Fish Called Wanda. A smashing
Smashing comedy then.
comedy.
Yeah, for the dogs at least. No, but yes. Anyway, thanks voiceover man, trailer voice guy. He's here again.
Was it the same guy?
Saving the day. Yeah, there was a guy that did like all of them.
All of them?
Well, he did quite a majority of them.
Blimey.
There was that guy, and then there was In a World Full of, and then that and really deeper kind of guy.
Oh,
Well, anyway.
deep guy.
Anyway, welcome to lockdown.
Yeah. The COVID-19 edition.
Well, there might be a few of them. I don't know at the moment, but let's see how we go.
The first. Yeah.
Yeah. So, create podcasts seems like a thing to do, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
While away the time.
We always
Whilst
had
we
it
all
on
go a little bit mad and turn into sort of semi-alcoholics.
semi. It's just been most nights, I think.
Well, tonight I haven't had any wine.
That's
Or
true.
Prosecco.
Only because you had
change.
too much last night.
Oh, I did.
Yes.
I had an isolation hangover.
On a school night.
It was a Sunday night, but hey, you
Well,
know.
all the
there we
nights.
go.
All the nights blend into one.
They do.
Even
what
the
month
nights are
is it?
better.
What day is it? Oh God, it's Groundhog Day.
No,
I tell you what,
we're not
if
doing
it
that
wasn't for
film.
my work and the fact that I'm still one of those lucky ones that's fortunate enough to be able to do remote auditing, I tell you, I think I'd be going a little bit mad by now. What is it? Week 1 we've done.
I think they're.
We're in week 2 now.
Well, we're officially in week 1, but we're kind of in week
No, we're probably week 2. Aren't
week
we?
2 because the kids were still at school, but we were told to stay home, and the kids were still going to school. And then a week last Friday, the kids were sent home, and then a week today, last Monday, Boris went, everyone stay home,
Yeah.
only go out for essentials.
Stay at home.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about COVID. We're here to brighten people's mood with A Fish Called Wanda, which what a great time to introduce such a classic film.
Yeah,
Yeah, and such a quality film.
it's a funny film.
I didn't look up what it got on Rotten Tomatoes. Did you?
Yeah, they were on the IMDb thing.
No, the Rotten Tomatoes score. We normally do that, but I haven't looked
Yeah,
at
but
it.
there were 2 scores. They
Yeah,
were
there's the user one and the critics one.
94%, and then I think it was something like 89%.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, yeah, it got high scores.
Yeah, see,
So it was an entertaining film.
It was, but there's. Okay.
So I'm hitting with a stick. I'm just pulling my chair
She may do in a minute. Who knows? Who knows? I've got to start off with a confession then.
Oh.
remembered it more fondly than when I watched it. I remembered
Say
it being.
again?
I remembered it being funnier.
Oh, you thought it was funnier?
I remembered it being funnier when I saw it at the time.
Oh.
And I remember it being.
When was that?
1988.
Oh, okay.
You know.
You were 16.
Hi for people that are catching up. Yes, I watched a lot of movies in the 80s.
So you didn't watch it after it came out then?
Yeah, I probably did. I probably watched it like early 90s or something. I can't remember watching it a great deal. Maybe a couple of times, but I don't know. I think the break of 20 odd years, probably 30 odd years, has probably, I don't know, just it's still a good film. It's still a funny film.
That's all right. I've not got the virus.
Yeah.
Hay fever set in and it set off my asthma. Anyway, sorry. Yes, I interrupted with my coughing.
So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I am too.
What? I thought you liked it far more than me.
No.
Okay. What? Okay. Well, what's your reason for a 7 then?
A 7? Well, judging on like the last film we watched, The Untouchables, which was a solid 8, it's nowhere near that solid 8. The acting's good, it's funny, but it's not in-depth kind of characters, is it really?
What would you compare it to that would be better?
Oh, I don't know, because I haven't rated a film
Right.
like on a 7, have I?
No, okay.
They've all been pretty low. Because they've all been your collection of weirdo 80s.
Well, you're here on the podcast. You're here for the...
I think I was your little experiment.
What?
Watch my really rubbish films.
Wait a minute. This was going to be I was going to be on a YouTube. The whole point about this is I was going to be on a YouTube.
On a YouTube.
I was going to have my own YouTube channel, and I was going to intersperse it with stuff, and it was going to be like. But then suddenly you went, "Oh, why don't I watch them?" And then you can. We've discussed this on previous podcasts. I can't believe we're here again. But anyway.
Moving on.
Here again.
Did you know it was written by John Cleese?
I did.
I did not know that.
Wait a minute. Are we doing trivia now?
No. I just looked at my pad and I'd written by John Cleese. I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a good 7. Yeah, it was entertaining. It kept my attention throughout the film.
We weren't laughing a lot in it.
But I think we knew what was coming though.
Well, I'd forgotten.
To be honest, I have probably only watched the film once or twice. I think I watched it. I never really used to go to the cinema much, so I used to watch them like when they came out, like at Christmas, on TV.
Oh right, okay.
Or if I was feeling a bit flush, pop down to the local offie to get my bag of crisps and
hooch.
my video.
Hooch.
No, not hooch.
Thunderbird.
I was 14.
Yeah. What?
14.
Yeah, that's about right.
Going down the local shop.
Thunderbird, yeah. Thunderbird in the park.
That's
14. She's a late starter then, obviously, on this. Clearly.
Look, that is a discussion to have at a different
occasion. On a different podcast.
On a different podcast, yes. But
drinking. my drinking years by Amanda Woodhead.
Thank goodness my mum won't ever listen to these. There we go.
Until she goes, oh, I came on this thing called Rusty Junk on Spotify.
She won't.
It said Charlie and Amanda, and I thought it might be. Hey, well, it could happen.
No.
I might tell her.
Don't do that.
All right, okay. Anyway, should we move on to roll call?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh no, I was going to say so. I probably watched the film twice actually.
Right.
So this was probably the 3rd time that I watched it, and it's actually been a number of years.
Okay.
Probably a lot of years.
Okay. Now can I move on to roll call?
Probably 30 years since
Probably
I've
not
seen
yet.
it.
No.
Yeah.
Amanda Woodhead, my fish called Wanda life. Okay, here's roll call.
Roll call.
Okay, so we start with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Yeah.
So I think wait a minute. Roll call this time should be okay. If I said Jamie Lee Curtis, what film instantly comes to mind?
True Lies.
That's the first film.
Yes.
Not Halloween.
Never seen it.
Well, of course, yeah. You don't like horror films. Jamie Lee Curtis is Halloween. I mean, that's what she started in. The film that she's been in, Halloween 2. the sequels, the Halloween H2O, the new version of Halloween. There's 2 more Halloweens coming out that she's involved in, and you're just like, well, they're great films. It's not. They're great films, apart from Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. But anyway, Jamie Lee Curtis, probably famous for, she was in Buck Rogers and The Love Boat. I make no qualms and zero apologies for saying I loved The Love Boat in the late 70s, early 80s. It was just a family thing that we watched. There's quite a lot of family things that we watched, but definitely The Love Boat was on there. Dallas, Dynasty, all that sort of stuff as well. It was all seemed quite exotic, especially The Love Boat. But yeah, Trading Places. Do you remember in Trading Places?
Oh, with the 2 guys.
Dan Aykroyd.
That,
yeah, she played played the hooker. Yeah. They have the bet. So yeah, so.
I don't think you're allowed to say hooker, are you anymore?
Are you not? Lady of the Night?
Not allowed to say that either.
Why?
She's prostitute.
Oh, that makes it sound so much better.
Well, it's the technical term, isn't it?
Okay, what? Lady of the Night isn't better than. It is?
No.
It's kind of like saying, "Oh, dark and mysterious, Lady of the Night."
Dark and mysterious.
Like.
What is it?
Like Batman.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well.
Too many images.
Well, yes. On to John Cleese. Well, apart from starring in The Great Muppet Caper, he's a python. I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to the UK, when it comes to comedy in the UK, he's a python. There's nothing much to say. Monty Python's Flying Circus was not only a forerunner and groundbreaker for comedy to this day.
There was nothing like it.
There's nothing like it, and to be fair, the comedy still stands up. It stands up so well today. If you go back, even with Mirth, and you listen to the parrot sketch, for example. So if you listen to that, you probably realise that you know most of it because you've heard it so many times, and you still heard it so many times, and you'll still go, that's so ahead of its time. That sketch. They're basically discussing. He's basically returning a dead parrot to the shop he bought it from when it was a dead parrot when he bought it.
Oh, it was dead when he bought it.
Yes,
oh, I
absolutely.
Didn't know that
it was
either.
nailed to its perch. If it wasn't nailed to its perch, it'd be pushing up the daisies. So yeah, he's a python. So he pretty much John Cleese can get away with anything. If you add to that. Faulty Towers.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
If you add
for
Basil
me,
Fawlty,
it's Basil Fawlty for me.
And again, a well-crafted, well thought out, well written. So you say John Cleese wrote this.
Yeah.
You know, he wrote Faulty Towers, and it just goes to show that he's not a bit part player. None of the Pythons were. None of them at all. Nobody was carrying anybody else. Everybody brought something to the table. But yeah, I think. From my 80s recollection thing that I had is that he starred in a film called Privates on Parade, and the first time I saw that was, so we had a bit of a Cleese double bill. I don't know, and I can't picture it, but it was sometime in the very early 80s. I was sent off to stay with my cousins down in Sherborne. So with cousin Ian, cousin Ian and cousin Francis, so my uncle Jeff, and I remember, so I was down there for about 3 days. I went and watched Francis play tennis and all that sort of stuff. But I do remember him sitting down and having free reign on the videos that he had. So I watched Privates on Parade, which definitely isn't good for an 8-9-year-old. Life of Brian, which
my God,
I thought that was incredible. I mean, I remember watching that.
A lot of it though.
Obviously, yeah, Also watch things, and this is for our American listeners. I actually got introduced there to a comedian who had called Kelly Monteith. Do you remember him?
No.
Okay, he had his own show on BBC Two. He had 2 series on BBC Two, and basically I love him, but I can't go back and listen to him now because I don't think he's very funny today. I don't think you could play him today and go, oh, that's really funny. But anyway, I digress. The other thing, I also watched, I don't know if you remember it, History of the World Part 1 with Mel Brooks.
I didn't really like him.
Yeah, well, that was incredibly funny. Because
I find him in the same category as like all these silly films like Airplane and... I just...
Forgive her, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
They're just not funny.
I think she's taken some funny tablets or something. But anyway... Well, you must have done. You can't say Airplane's not funny.
It's all right. It's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't sit down
miss.
to watch that film. It just bore me because I just get so annoyed with it.
No, anyway. But the final mention I've got to give is now that we have access to everything online. If you have access to Cheers, the American sitcom with Ted Danson and Shelley Long at the time, later starred Kirstie Alley, but definitely the Ted Danson, the Sam and Diane years. He plays Frasier's friend from Oxford College that arrives, and he's in one episode, and it's called Simon Says. It's possibly one of the funniest things I've seen. One of the funniest things I've ever seen is John Cleese. His comic timing just in that episode is can we watch that then? Oh yeah, absolutely. It's incredible. It just involves him doing a free compatibility test for Sam and Diane and saying you are absolutely completely not right for each other, and them keep chasing him and it's just incredible. But anyway, I thoroughly recommend. Anyway, this is going to go on far too long. Michael Palin, well, another Python. So again, incredible. You look back on some of the films, like Monty Python, The Holy Grail. You have your favourites, and suddenly you go, oh, and then there's that scene, and then it'll star another one, and then it'll star Terry Jones, and then it'll star Graham Chapman, and you'll be like, oh yeah, he's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy, and then you'll go on to another one, and you just go, they're all brilliant. Michael Palin, obviously, I didn't realise he was in Home and Away. He played Surfer Number 1 in Home and Away, like in the 80s, in the late 80s.
I'm joking.
I don't know, but I think we're going to have to YouTube it. Somebody's put it on somewhere. He's famous over here for a series called Ripping Yarns. I never watched it.
Oh God, yes.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, yes, I watched some of those. Yes,
okay.
I did.
But obviously, probably the most famous after Python is Around the World in 80 Days, where he set himself up as basically a travel journalist, I don't know, in the same vein as sort of
a blogger these days, wouldn't they?
They'd probably call him an influencer. I don't know.
Yeah.
God knows what the millennials say. Anyway, to us, he was a travel journalist like Alan Wicker.
Oh God, Alan Wicker.
Wicker's World.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. Anyway.
Those polyester suits.
Oh yes, but you remember him though, don't you?
Yep. Always had a tie or a smart shirt, a pair of slacks. Not trousers, slacks. And a hat.
Indeed.
And some glasses.
The one surprising thing when doing roll call is when I looked up Kevin Kline. Because then I went, okay, it's a fish called Wanda. And I looked through the filmography, and I was trying to find some sort of angle for films he was doing in the 80s and things like that. Yeah. Do you remember he was in Cry Freedom? He played the journalist in Cry Freedom. I
think I've seen that either.
So Denzel Washington, basically political prisoner. I think he plays Stephen Biko. I should have looked at that. I believe so. But Kevin Kline was the journalist, and he was extremely good in that. I mean, I remember his performance. I also remember Denzel Washington, but not being funny. Anything you watch with Denzel Washington, you remember. Check out Man on Fire for those Denzel Washington fans that want a film that they might not have seen him in. It's definitely worth a look in. So Cry Freedom was his breakout. He was in a film called Dave, which I remember so fondly.
Dave?
Hello, Dave.
Dave?
Anyway, he was in a film called Dave, where basically he plays the president, but then the president has a heart attack, and they have to keep things going. And basically, they can't afford that the vice president takes over, so what they want to do is get an imposter. So they find somebody that looks exactly the same as him, this guy called Dave, and he's suddenly got to impersonate the president and fool the first lady, who's Sigourney Weaver. And you're like, I don't know how she's going to do that. I mean, halfway through the film, she goes, "I knew it wasn't you." As soon as he walked into the room, because obviously she knows. But he's supposed to be the spitting image. It's a lovely film. It really is worth checking out. Again, really fond memories of Dave. Dave.
I hope he feels the same about you.
If you love that, you could see Kevin Kline's Bottom if you wanted to. Because
Not really.
He was in Midsummer Night's Dream in 1999.
Oh.
So yes, if you really want to see it. And of course the travesty, and it is a travesty, that was the remake of the live action remake of Beauty and the Beast, where he played Belle's dad.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Less said about that, the better. Anyway, there you go. That's Roll Call.
Not to be mixed up with Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein.
Kevin Klein.
Calvin Klein. From Back to the Future. That Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, right. So, on to the film. There's probably not... it's one of those films whereby there's double crosses, triple crosses, just things all over the place, really. I mean...
Do you know one thing that I really loved about it?
Go on.
Seeing all the old cars.
Really?
The old British cars. Yeah, it was brilliant. Like, one of my...
There was a Capri in there, I think.
My first car was a Rover Metro. I had the later model. I had a J-Reg. I can't remember what year it would have been now. 91, I think it was. But the Metro City that was in there was like a D-Reg. And it was
the one
like
that
the old
backs up
style.
into the...
It's the one that they go and like...
I heard you gasp a little bit when it...
when they put it in
the
the
railway
arches.
bridge, the railway arches.
Yeah, in there. And you're like, oh my God, it's a little mini Metro. Because my sister had one of those. And I used to like whiz up and down my drive at home in it. She had a Y-Reg Metro. It's like silvery blue colour. It was great. So yeah. And then there was like... the old Rover Fastback, and then MG. There was an Austin Allegro in there.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
The Allegro, yeah.
Yeah, just old classic cars, but they probably weren't old at the time when the film was made because it was in 88. It was probably
straight off the production line. It's cutting edge.
Oh dear, yeah, it was really nice to see.
Do you know what I liked on the similar sort of theme? I know this is going to sound weird. I love the old the MGM. MGM UA titles that come in. Yeah, United Artists. Because then United Artists split and they had their own thing, which was that Swish logo that came in and the UA, and then it was on its own. But this is MGM UA. I also remember, and I'm sorry, I'm going to get really geeky for about 20 seconds. I get sort of really, really fond memories of the old CIC video logos that came on, because it usually meant it was a film from Paramount and it was going to be good. It was going to be Indiana Jones The Last Crusade. It was going to be Pretty in Pink. It was going to be any John Hughes film. CIC video that came up at the start. I'm sure I could get that on YouTube.
And what does that mean, CIC video?
I can't remember what it stood for, but it was basically the video chain or that would distribute this film.
Oh, it wasn't like a warning thing?
No. It wasn't like the FBI, don't take this because, we'll hang you by your Busker Browns. But yeah, but I think at the start of it, what I was going to say is obviously I do geek out on things like titles, but the start of it paints a really lovely view of London, and I think the trouble is that I remember going around London in the 80s, and I remember the early 90s. We used to find it like a really cool thing to say, oh, let's go down to London, and then we'd just travel there. And I loved it. I just thought it was really nice, and that's the London I remember. I go to London now, and I can't say I'm a massive fan. I like visiting, but I don't particularly get a sense of camaraderie like walking around, and I guess I kind of got that when I was there. So I think when you look at the start of Fish Called Wanda and it goes into the starring John Cleese and all that, and the backdrop of that, it's lovely. I think it's really
like the sort of Regency squares. With the little gardens.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
like the square
absolutely.
Gardens. Yeah, that's really quite quaint.
There's no shard. There's no walkie-talkie building.
London is still a lot like that, though.
Well,
there's probably more cars. Although there might not be because of the congestion charge, but
parts of it just to me.
The residential areas, the nice ones. They're still
yes,
like that.
they're probably still like that.
Yeah.
The ones that the one that the old woman lived in. You mean?
Oh yeah, with
the
dogs.
scaffolding. We'll get to that in a moment.
Oh.
Anyway, it goes straight into, after a lovely picture of London, it goes straight into a diamond raid where you've got, you know, it's quite vicious, not vicious. I mean, it's not like out of place, but basically they're
It's like a typical 80s like bank raid, isn't it? What they do, really.
Yeah.
And to think it was they only did it for £13 million of diamonds, and you're like, in today's terms, 13 million. It's not really
get out of
a
bed
lot
for
to rob a bank for, is it? Really?
Yeah. So you see this, and you see the setup, and you see, the main villain is introduced to Kevin Kline, who's Otto, but it's introduced as George, and this is Wanda's brother.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, well, it's patently not. But yeah, so then you cut to John Cleese, and he's with his wife Wendy, and we are talking English stereotypes now. It's great.
The upper middle, isn't it?
They're living in like what probably would be Hampton Court Palace type thing, like house that they're living in.
Yeah, a very.
Of course, we all lived.
Suburb.
We all lived in those. Yeah, of course we did. The daughter's called Portia.
Not spelt like the car.
Wendy, his wife, is reading Horse and Hound. Of course she is.
And she's had such a stressful day.
Yes, absolutely. But this is it. You see, it's one of those things whereby it cuts all over the place. So it cuts to John Cleese, and you can see that his marriage isn't a happy one.
Yeah, do you think actually the story isn't about Diamond Heist? It's actually a story of his marriage breakdown.
Yeah, I think it was a marriage breakdown that was due, to be honest. I mean, he wasn't happy. You see him as a barrister, you see him as the barrister, then going back to the house, and everybody's archetypal English. I guess if you're selling a film to the US at that time, it has to look like that.
Yeah.
But then you get films like that were hot on the heels, where you get Train Spotting, which then paints a pretty ugly view of Scotland, was it Glasgow or Edinburgh? I can't remember. I think it was Edinburgh where it was filmed. It doesn't paint a rosy picture, but it's still exceptional. I mean, Train Spotting is a breakout film, and people will want to go there to see the so you see it that way. Anyway, so they've got these diamonds. Amanda's loved the fact that there's a Austin Metro involved, and which then goes into a place in the Arches. They put the diamonds in a safe. There's double crossing going on. I won't spoil it all for you.
Happen, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So, how you get introduced to that is basically George. George is the one that gets caught because Kevin Kline's Otto basically rings the police and goes, "Oh, hello, yes, I'd just like to say that I'd spotted..."
Dobbing him in.
Yeah, so dobs him in. He gets arrested. They go and visit him in prison, feigning all sorts of, "Oh, George, this is terrible," and Jamie Lee Curtis pretending she loves him and all this sort of stuff.
Did you realise throughout that film she's kissed every male actor?
Yes, she has. I did put that down on the...
She's a bit of a flooze, isn't she?
You've been doing a bit of secret trivia, haven't you?
No, not really. I just thought, when I was watching the trailer again, I thought, oh, yeah, she kissed him. She kissed him.
Well, that was actually in the trivia.
I just kissed them all.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There we
Brilliant.
go.
Well,
paying attention.
Well done, you.
Thank you. I get a gold star.
So, how John Cleese comes into it is because John Cleese is representing. So the diamonds have been hidden somewhere else. We don't know where. The key has been hidden in the fish tank of Michael Palin's apartment in a little chest in the fish tank.
Michael Palin doesn't know.
Michael Palin doesn't know it's there. I think he does know it's there because he puts it there, doesn't he? And Jamie Lee Curtis watches him put it there.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, yes.
So he does know where it is.
He's the guy that put it there. Yeah.
Anyway, we don't want to spoil it. As I say, we might have rated it 7 out of 10, but it is really definitely worth watching. So we're not going to go into it in massive depth. But I think the film then changes direction, because then you start seeing more Cleese, because Jamie Lee Curtis goes, well, wait a minute, George is going to tell John Cleese everything, being his barrister, being the person that's going to be representing him. So Jamie Lee Curtis feigns being a law fan and stops him in the car park, and basically comes onto him to try and affect him telling him where the diamonds are. And so she has the key. She's taken the key out of the fish tank and she's put it in a chain on a locket. So she has that throughout the film.
As a character, she played it very well, but as a genuine kind of person in the film, like, you know, portraying, she's very fickle. She doesn't. I don't think the relationship at the end. I mean, I won't spoil it. I don't think the relationship at the end is going to last. It's almost like she just goes along for the ride.
You're supposed to believe that it will.
I think she's just one of these people that falls in and out of love to get what she wants.
Yeah,
she's
but by the end, I think you've got some sort of redemption.
Anyway,
probably best to go into, because rather than go into the actual whole story.
Yeah, don't.
There are great bits in it. Kevin Kline Otto.
Harvey Manfrangensen.
Who was that?
I can't remember, but I wrote it down.
Okay, well, I don't remember.
Manfrangensen.
Okay, I'm sure it meant something.
Oh, it was Kevin. Yeah, Kevin.
Oh,
Kline,
he introduced himself as
when
that.
he was on the phone.
Reporting shopping
yes.
in. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
okay.
it, yes.
Other things which I thought were... I just thought was great. Every time Jamie Lee Curtis hears somebody speaking Italian...
or just a foreign language.
Or just, well, we don't know it's foreign language until John Cleese speaks Russian later. But, yeah, basically she melts and, you know, goes to pieces and then, you know, just wants sex there and then. So you've got... I think when you look at... You've got great bits. You've got Michael Palin's stutter. I'm sorry. That's funny. You know, people can shout me down and people can, you know, fine, get mad, you know, write to the Twitter account, because, you know, we could do with a bit of traffic on there. But, you know, just, it's funny. It's a film of its time. You know, when I get to the trivia, I'll tell you a story about the stutter, and that'll make it all a bit clearer. But,
okay,
you know, it's... Gareth Gates had a stutter in the 90s, and that was funny too. But anyway. Well,
he didn't stutter when he sang.
No, he didn't. No. Right.
The funniest bit is the moment where he's trying to communicate Cathcart Towers Hotel.
Oh, that is incredible. That is
comedy genius.
Both of us then suddenly did erupt in laughter, because we're kind of like...
God.
And it felt like we hadn't been doing it. Suddenly we hadn't been doing it the whole time.
Oh my God. There's some auditor alerts.
Oh, there is, yes.
Do you want to know about those?
Yes, I'm sure. Well, not only do I do, but everybody else.
I'm sure they do.
Every single listener
we
is going...
should have a little jingle, auditor alert.
Definitely not.
Oh, okay. I'm not important enough.
What would it be?
I don't know, some siren.
It'd be auditor alert, clear out and run like the wind.
Lock it away.
Okay.
Yes. John Cleese has just been verbally seduced by Jamie Lee Curtis. She wants his autograph. It's the first time she goes to meet him, and he's put his briefcase on the top of the car, and he's all a bit of a fluster and a bit sort of like doughy-eyed. Gets in the car, extremely flattered that somebody has sort of made an advance on him, and he drives off with his briefcase on the top of his car. And I suspect, in real terms, there would have been lots of legal documentation in that briefcase.
And would get sacked,
He
because
would probably got sacked.
End up in a street somewhere.
Well, it would do these days.
And somebody would take
probably
it to the
not
papers.
back in the day then. They
Absolutely.
didn't have any GDPR. Was data protection even around then? No, it was 1998. No. So we'd have got away with it. 10 years proceeding, yes.
Yeah.
And also, because she forged not forged. She asked him for his signature, so she got his signature there and then, and he didn't even know who she was, and he gladly handed over his signature.
Yeah, well, she thought he was a groupie. Don't diss him for that. People give. Oh, sorry. Wait a minute. Let me introduce you to a new concept. You're going to love this. They're called autograph hunters.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Whoa. No. Get this. Let me explain.
No, I get it.
It means famous people give away their very signatures. Oh God, I know. Incredible, eh?
It's not very good, is it? And then there was another auditor alert, which was when George passed a note to Michael Palin from the dock. Basically.
That's right. That was so.
Yeah. Nowadays,
Yeah.
having done jury service, our local Crown Court, they have the dock. Basically, it's enclosed in glass, so there isn't any opportunity to pass information or do anything like that. And the public gallery, the court that I was in, was actually upstairs, so they couldn't even see who was in the dock. So there was not even any sort of eye communication, body language, or anything between those two sort of entities, really. So yeah, how things have changed.
Well, definitely, but that definitely is a product of his time. For reasons that we won't tell you, but obviously Michael Palin has to kill one of the witnesses, and unfortunately she has 3 dogs.
What is the name of the actress? Because she's been in stuff before.
She has Eileen, if I had to say something, Eileen Brabham. No, it's not. It's not Cathcart Towers.
I'm Cathcart.
And he keeps missing her and getting one of the dogs. So, in ways.
And he's an animal lover.
And he's an animal lover.
And he doesn't fare well either, does he? Because he keeps getting hurt in the process.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, absolutely. There's always that part of him.
It's the Rottweiler, the Doberman in the van when he tries to get the dog to attack the woman, and basically the dog runs off. And it picks up one of the dogs and runs off with
That's it. Yeah, the killer dog.
Kill the dog.
You've got little bits like the John Cleese speech in The Flat, where he's like, "Oh, do you know what it's like being English?" You know, and it's kind of like you look back on that now and you think, "Well, that's for an American audience." I get that. I mean, but John Cleese did it, so it's
Patricia Hayes.
Oh, Patricia Hayes. Right, okay.
Yes.
Why was I thinking of Eileen Brabham?
I don't know. She was Mrs. Cody.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Right.
Hang on.
Okay. You knew we couldn't get through a podcast with that man going, "Oh, I need to check my phone."
And I didn't realise. Portia.
Oh, God. Right, okay. Well, spoil my bit.
Oh, no.
Right.
Okay.
Go on, then. You might as well say it.
No, it's okay.
Portia is played by John Cleese's daughter, Cynthia.
It is?
Yes.
I did not know that either.
Okay, well, there you go. Trivia time might be quite short this week.
And what was really funny towards the end, a little cameo appearance.
Yeah.
The very young, yet to become famous, Stephen Fry.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
He
gets mugged for his boarding pass.
I should get a pen out and just start going through all the trivia, really.
Sorry.
That's that one. That's that one. That's that one. Right, okay. I kind of had I think you know me. I kind of had a.
Well, I hope I do.
I remember having a little crush on his wife, on John Cleese's wife Wendy. I remember that, but that's what I was like. I don't know why. It's a Freud thing at the time.
Goodness.
God knows.
It's a mum-son thing.
But I did remember that. It's a Freudian slip, saying one thing and meaning another. Oh, sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway,
I must say, actually, talking about sort of the other half kind of counterpart thing.
You fancy Kevin Kline?
No. Oh God, no.
Oh.
John Cleese must have worked out He got his kit off.
It was always bone. It was always.
No, he's worked out. You could see all the all the individual muscles in his thighs. For God's sake!
Oh crikey! Well,
did you not know? Well, you probably didn't notice that.
John Cleese's thighs wasn't going to be high on my list for things to.
No,
to watch
but he
out
was
of.
quite buff as well, with his it wasn't a six pack, but it was had a little bit of padding on there, but he was doing all right. I think he'd shaped up a bit for that.
Maybe he might have done. Anyway, it is a good film. There are some great bits in it. I don't know who the standout is. I think Kevin Kline. He won a Best Supporting Actor for this.
Did he?
Yeah, his only Oscar nomination at all was for this at the 1989 Oscars.
He did play quite a deranged.
It was all over the place. It is a great performance.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here saying, oh well, obviously I've got my favourites, but everyone.
Don't call me stupid.
Don't call me stupid. Yeah. And he's just great in this. I think you're right, actually. Thinking back to it now, it might be the demise of John Cleese's marriage. That's the story, and all this happens in the background.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, he does find some sort of redemption, and some sort of happiness. He's a barrister that's got it all, but there's no sort of, there's zero intimacy or anything like that you can see, but except when she inadvertently gets the locket. So yeah, that's probably the film, because otherwise if we talk about it a lot more, obviously we've got I've left the best till last, which is the chip up the nose, which people you remember Fish Called Wanda, you go, oh, it's the chip up the nose.
Yeah, and eating the fish.
Oh
God, that turned my stomach the first time I saw that.
Yeah.
What on earth was it that they were eating? Have you got that in the trivia?
I have got that in the trivia.
Thank God for that.
Right, okay.
Because that's always one of the things that I've been wondering. What actually is he eating? Because they do look like fish.
Okay. Right. Well, I think that's a good time.
There?
It's a good setup to go into. Right, here we go for trivia time.
Trivia time.
Okay, right. There was quite a bit, but I've just pointed out the best bits.
Go on then.
Should we start with what the fish were made out of?
Yes, please.
Jelly.
Jelly?
Or jello, if you're it said jello. Basically, they were jellyfish.
Oh.
Not jellyfish. jelly.
Stingy.
Comma. No, not comma. Jelly space fish.
Jelly space fish.
Does jellyfish have a space? Jellyfish.
No, it's all one word, jellyfish.
Right, okay. Well, this is jelly space fish, but not space fish. Right, jelly, punctuation alert, space, new word, fish.
I think we've got it.
Right, okay. Did you know that his real life daughter played Portia?
Really?
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh no, I scrubbed that out. I've got to start with this because I think this is great. In all the trivia that we may have, this might just be the best. And it's got nothing to do with any of the characters in the film. Okay? It's brilliant. Let me just read it as it is.
Is it scenario?
No.
Is it happening?
In 1989, when this film was shown in the theatres of Denmark, a Danish man named Ole Benson, who was a Danish audiologist, literally laughed himself to death during the scene where Ken gets the chips up the nose. Benson's heart rate went between 250 to 500 beats per minute.
Oh no!
And he eventually succumbed to cardiac arrest while watching the film. Wait. I know, I'm just not going to say that's the bit. The story behind this is he'd made a joke a few years earlier with his family during dinner, right? Where he put a piece of cauliflower up his and every family member's nose as a joke.
What?
Right, wait a minute.
Why would you do that?
This is great though, right?
Was
and he made
cooked?
a bet on who could eat up their carrots without the cauliflower falling out.
Oh, that's horrendous.
When the scene with Ken and the chips came up, he was reminded about the dinner incident that he kept going, and he laughed so hard that his heart stopped. This story is well known in Scandinavia and spread around almost as an urban legend shortly after it happened.
Goodness me.
It was confirmed by his son, who also told the dinner story as an explanation to why his father laughed so hard during the chip scene.
Did his dad die?
Yes, he had a heart attack while watching the scene.
So he did actually die?
Yes, because he laughed so hard, he died.
Oh.
Yeah, well, okay. That aside,
that's
the reason why. But yeah, I
thought, suppose if you're going to go,
well, if you're going to go,
laughing yourself.
Yeah.
It's a heart attack.
250 to 500 beats per minute.
Jeez.
That's bye-bye territory, yeah. But anyway, it was. Okay, so I thought that's a piece of trivia. That's just
wow.
Yeah. But anyway, there you go. On to the stutter. Michael Palin's father stuttered, so he used a lot of his real life experience being around his dad when playing Ken, including the fact that Ken's stutter is less pronounced around people he trusts,
yes,
Tom and Wanda, and worse around people he's uncomfortable with, Otto. Yeah. And obviously the John Cleese bit with the Cathcart
Towers Hotel.
However, Michael Palin went on to found the London Centre for Stammering Children.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh.
After a group of stutterers confronted him regarding the sensitivity with which he dealt with Ken's handicap in this film. I actually read that wrong. I read that he was being confronted and said, "How dare you play someone with a stamina?" And now I've just read it
Stamina?
back. Stammer. Sorry.
He kept going.
Stamina. Anyway. No, I read that as they confronted him. But they I don't know if it's confronted it. I don't know if that meant they went up to him and, "How dare you play someone in stutter and make fun of us?" And he goes, "Oh, right, okay, fine. I'll found the Centre for Stuttering Children." Or whether it was just
raising the profile.
Or whether or not they went, "Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for raising the profile." And he went, "Do you know what? I'll go one better. I'll fund the centre." I don't know how to read that sentence. Do you know what? I'm going to read it in the positive. They use the word confronted, but confronted can mean anything. It could just mean that they...
It's usually negative.
It usually is. Let's go for a positive. Michael Palin, if you copied into this, and obviously on Twitter, and you really fancy listening to... We do love you. We so love you, and all of the Pythons. Really, really sad. It's really sad. It really affects a lot of people when one of the Pythons dies. And obviously, recently with Terry Jones. But John Cleese then usually tweets out something like 3 down, or 2 down, 3 to go, or something. It's obviously,
wasn't
as
that
you would
one of
expect.
their tours?
4 down, 1 down, 4 to go. But yes. Anyway, let's go for positive. That they confronted him, and anyway, when the film was aired on TV in the US, many TV stations deleted the chips up the nostril scene.
Why?
Deeming it insensitive to individuals with mental impairments.
It's not a mental impairment.
Well, it's not a mental impairment, but at the time they probably treated it like one. I know. It's ridiculous. While Ron Michael Palin, he thought the script was awful when he first read it. Didn't like it at all.
Did he change it?
No.
Did he have a word?
No, he recorded his low opinion of it in his diary.
Oh.
That obviously later came out as part of a book. It holds a world record. The film. What do you think it holds the record for? Okay, so to break the silence on that, I'll go. It holds the record from the longest time to reach number 1 in the movie charts.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that.
The movie was released on 15th of July 1988 in the US and eventually reached number 1 on the 16th of September 1988. It was out for that long and then suddenly it pushed up the... I can't find the reason why there was a sudden clamour for it. But yeah, it holds that from 1982, the longest time to reach number 1 to present day. It hasn't been beaten. The Fish that Kevin Kline, told you that one. And one of only 2 films released in 1988 in which the main villain is run over with a steamroller and survives. So I'm going to shoot for the moon here. I'm going to go. What's the other one, Amanda?
Don't know.
Oh, well, you can have a try, and I think a steamroller. If I give you a clue, Bob Hoskins.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
There you go.
Oh.
See, it didn't take long to. It's interesting that you say Bob Hoskins to you, and it's not like Oscar-winning Mona Lisa or everything else that he did. The Long Good Friday. No. It's something like. No, I loved him when he was opposite that cartoon rabbit. It was that's his nadir. That's his acting mountain that he's reached the pinnacle of. But anyway, so yes, that's it. This fish called Wanda. That's it.
Nice.
Anything else to add to it, or?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know what we're doing next because we usually discussed it beforehand, but I don't know. I think we've got quite a few lined up.
Should we try and get one that's kind of like available to a lot of people if it's on like Netflix or Amazon Prime or something?
Yeah, it would be a good idea, especially if we've got some new listeners because of this, because we're going to try and market this episode or promote it a little bit better. I mean, what more fun would you like when you're in lockdown than listening to our dulcet tones enlightening you? If you go back and say, do you know what, I've loved this, that these two chat nonsense for the best part of an hour, then go back and see if any of the films that are on there have been put on Netflix or have made Amazon Prime or have gone back, and then watch them and then listen to us drone on about them.
Or don't.
Or do. Apart from, I know we keep saying this, but apart from Prancer, please don't watch that.
Prancer, I don't think that's on.
I will never ever.
Please don't bother with that.
Yeah, don't watch it. I'm sad that we have to do it.
If you do, think of it as a horror film.
Yeah, in fact, you might get more out of it. Don't watch it at Christmas. I really don't watch it.
And don't watch it with your kids.
No, unless you want them to be bored, stroke, very, very worried about what's going on. Equally, Leviathan, you can bin that one. I wouldn't bother. Apart from that, the rest of them, we're not doing too badly, because I listen to other podcasts. There's another one called Rom Bombs that I listen to, and that's quite a good podcast. I really like that.
Is that the girls? Yeah,
it's the two girls that discuss take a film, and it's usually a film I haven't seen, but they try and pick things that are on Netflix. But there's another one called Bottom of the Stream podcast that I listen to occasionally, and they are very unlucky because the film that they pick is on Netflix at the time that they do it, and then by the time they release the podcast, it's left.
Oh no!
Yeah, so they get quite unlucky on it, and you really can't tell with Netflix or things like that, because you look at the things that are going, and you think, why would you have that go? So beg, borrow, steal, do whatever you need to watch the film. There are, I'm told, ways that you can get films and you can download them, but look, there's enough streaming services now that it's got to be on one of them. So, films to look out for, I'll say Stripes and Iron Eagle, definitely.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well, come on, you liked
Iron Eagle.
Bits.
A Middle Eastern state.
A Middle Eastern state.
Nondescript.
The Director of Defence. Anyway, so I think please contact us. We're on Facebook at Rusted J Pod. So just type in Rusted Junk, it comes up. Obviously, with a name like that, you're not going to get too many hits to wade through. We are Rusted J Pod on Twitter. Or just we just get in contact. I mean, we'd just like to hear from you. If you like these or any suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. We hope everyone isn't going stir crazy, and we hope everybody's safe. We hope everyone's just following what they need to and using good common sense and just making the best of it. So
I think what I would actually hope as a result of this sort of isolation.
We're not going to get too political, are we? Or?
No.
Okay.
No. It's more about community spirit. I think
Absolutely.
it by being isolated, we're actually realising the impact of our fellow. Our fellow people and
people that like agoraphobic or have mental health issues that they really can't leave the house because it's really
well, not just that though. I think just being isolated, especially if you live on your own and stuff, being unable not allowed to go out, whereas you're probably out, 50% of the time either at work or going out and socialising with some friends, or popping down the pub, popping down the shops, having a coffee, and I think it really is quite an impact to actually, and it's a big ask. It really is a big ask to say, you can't go out unless it's for essential things. So
people without gardens. I mean, we're lucky here. We've got a nice
green out the front.
The green,
the
countryside
that
we can walk
just
through in the fields.
Short stroll away. We've got a garden that needs a lot of attention.
If I was the 50th floor of a tower block with no balcony,
that'd drive you mental, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah,
it really would. You'd feel like you're cooped up and just go stir crazy, I guess. So, big up to people who are thinking of others and
absolutely,
talking to other people, whether it's on digital communication methods, video chatting, social media, actually picking up the phone, for goodness sake. Pick up the phone.
You talk to family a lot more.
Just appreciate what you've got around you, because I have a fear that if we return back to our sort of normality of where we were before, that we'll just go back to what we were doing, and then we won't basically bother about anyone again.
Well,
I hope that is not the case. I hope we're learning a valuable lesson now, and we stick together, and those connections that you've made will last your lifetime, because it's important. It really
absolutely
is. Anyway, that's enough for me.
I have an idea on that.
Yes.
And I hope that when this settles, I hope that I get a bit of space and a bit of time to develop that community idea that I've got. But anyway.
Well, just to put it in some kind of context, we were supposed to go away over Easter holiday. And our holiday's been cancelled because the place that we were going isn't going to be open. We're not allowed to travel. It's not essential. We've been looking forward to this since last year when we rebooked. So it's a big thing for us going away. We go to North Devon, to the coast, but we're not going to be able to do that. So my employer has basically said, I'm sorry, you can't give back your leave, you've got to take the leave. So in order to try and put it to some good use, I've volunteered for the NHS Volunteers, which is run by the Royal Voluntary Service.
It is.
So, by, I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? They should have validated IDs.
They say it's going to start after the 31st.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to use the app and that week go out and get medical supplies, shopping, for people that can't get out, or those that are isolated, the vulnerable, the people who are probably ill.
Yeah. And
so it's putting the time to good use. Obviously, we've got Amy, our daughter, so, we're not both going to be out at the same time.
We'll sort it out.
But, hopefully I'll be able to do something good, as well as, just the general kind of
Can you help me start realising the idea that we talked about?
Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll do little things like that as well.
We'll do that.
And can we also paint the garage door? Thanks.
Yeah. It needs sanding first.
It does need sanding.
Oh, it's awful. Anyway,
it is.
That's enough.
I was trying to clean the window.
Oh, I tell you
and the flakes of paint were coming off in my hand.
Yeah, but the best thing ever. Oh my God, I've got a jet washer, right? A pressure washer.
Oh, don't bore people.
Oh
with
no,
this.
no! A clean back patio.
This is not the place for
it's amazing.
Right.
It's so therapeutic.
Sorry if your ears have just been blown away by that.
Absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to be getting out the front when I've got a bit of spare time and doing the front.
Can you not do it tomorrow?
Patio slabs. No, I'm auditing all day tomorrow.
Well, when you finished?
And all week. No, because I've got to cut your hair tomorrow.
And this
we'll
is
tell
literally
you all about that next
this is
podcast.
literally the winter nights flying by. This is where we are. Anyway. On that note, we're going to say if you do want to contact us in man's words using a digital communication method, then please feel free. Please feel free to.
It's not analog.
Well, it's not analog, but I don't think the kids call it. Yeah, we use what digital communication do you use, Martha? I use this Snapchat. I don't know what it's called. I don't know. I use this.
Is that what the kids use?
I use What's If. WhatsApp. So yes, anyway, digital communication methods, please get in touch. and we'll see you for the next podcast. So,
yeah, and he might have a number one all over because it might have gone horribly wrong.
What? Because you're going to shave my head?
Well, if it goes horribly wrong, you might end up with a number one all over.
I can't have a number one.
Let's wait and see, eh?
I'd like a number one record. That's about it. But anyway, right, to be continued. We will see you later. So thanks very much for listening.
Cheers, toodle pip.
Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. Rusted Junk. The Forgotten 80s Movies. The Forgotten 80s Movies.